Welcome back to Us Against Everything, where we are the only podcast where you leave with more questions than answers and somehow also a fear of tigers.
Possibly sardine oil.
Yes, that's right, guys. Today we are going back in time. We're going back to COVID time, where Tiger King made its first appearance on Netflix. And the world went absolutely bonkers, batshit crazy.
I literally just can't even believe that this was a time that we lived through. And everybody was like locked in their house when this came out. So
Right.
It was like, obviously this happened years before, but like when they gave it to us, it was like when you're all locked in the house and now you're just going to go crazy in there.
Right, exactly. And we had to get involved in this online persona of Tiger King. And man, oh man, I don't know why, but I've always been super drawn to this case, this story, everything. I honestly still can't even believe that this story is real.
But I can actually, because America.
Every single person involved in this situation feels like AI generated. And also, we can't also forget that this is when TikTok started hopping as well. And then we had all the Carole Baskin. Killed her husband, whacked him.
Carole Baskin killed her husband, whacked him. Can't convince me that it didn't happen. Venom to tigers, they snacking. What's happening? Carole Baskin.
This seems like a story that should be out right now, and I'm going to tell you why. Because in this story, we have a missing millionaire husband.
That's true.
Who we all know who fed them to the tigers.
Allegedly.
A tiger queen feud between Joe and Carole.
Tiger Queen, love it.
A possible cult of breeding and being the world's biggest tiger holders. Like
Definite
trophy
cult.
for being that.
Tiger exotic animal cult for sure.
Also, a little bit of polygamy.
Yeah.
Multiple marriages going on, specifically with one person. The queen who wants to be the queen of queens. Possibly when you got all these terrible singers out there in the country music world, you got a country music star slammed right there in the middle of it.
Fully pulling a Milli Vanilli moment.
And let's not mention the biggest thing. We also had a slight presidential run.
That pandemic was a fever dream. Somehow, America basically said, like, yeah, this tracks. I mean, it tracks to today's day.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we got this in 2020, and like looking and watching back at it again in current state, I'm like, oh my God.
As you guys are all aware, Landon and I, which by the way, my name is Liz and my husband is Landon. We are the co-hosts for today. If you have not been here the whole time, go back. There are 17 other episodes you can take a listen to. Can you believe we already have 17 episodes?
Wild.
It's like a full ass season. We will be diving into the Tiger King, Carole Baskin, Joe Exotic, and of course the giant question that still follows all of us today. What really happened to Don Lewis?
Whacked him.
Since Carole loves to sue quite literally everything and everyone because she's like, I have money and I'm going to take you to court. This is just visions and channeling and opinions. So Carole, don't come for us.
Literally, freedom of speech. This is what we believe.
This is the story we're being told. So before we get into theories and visions and weirdness, let's lay out all the actual facts because this case got so sensationalized that people forgot that what's confirmed and what isn't. So Don Lewis disappeared in 1997. He was a millionaire businessman connected to exotic animals and real estate. He was married to Carole Baskin at the time. It's a very weird way on how they met. Like, and I'm not saying that Don Lewis was this incredible man. Clearly, he was somebody who was enjoying the company of younger women.
I mean, obviously he wasn't. He was married with children at home and was driving around because he wanted to leave his marriage. And he was driving around and he saw a young woman, a.k.a. Carole.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
He decided hey, let me see if I still got it.
Right. And we have to go back when it comes to Carole as well. Carole was in her very early young 20s, but before that, she was actually gang raped by multiple men. And that can really fuck somebody up.
She also was married to her first abusive husband as well.
There's that piece of it too. So she already was in a situation where a man came up to her and he had a gun, and it made her, like, it thrilled her. She even said she held it on him because he said, "Here, I'll let you hold my gun on me and you can ask me questions." And she did just that. She was intrigued by that kind of energy, crazy energy.
If you are in that environment, you're going to be enveloped in that environment and you thrive in the chaos. And clearly, Carole thrives in chaos. I think her life is probably pretty fucking boring now that she doesn't have Joe to blame for everything.
Right, because Joe made her life more entertaining. I don't disagree with you there.
She also got more fame because of it too. Like, don't tell me, lady, that you did not enjoy the fame you got off of Tiger King and off of Joe Exotic saying your name everywhere, because it just made people look up who the fuck you were. Joe was the showboater. He was the star.
Exactly. And Carole was silent but deadly.
So silent but deadly. See, Joe is a lot of talk. and
Talk.
doesn't do very much walking.
Right.
Where Carole doesn't do any talking, and she does a lot of walking to that courthouse.
Hey, cool cats and kittens.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Miss Kitty Meow Meow.
Meow, meow, kitty, meow, meow. They got together. They got married. And then, of course, as time progressed, they were married for a while and their relationship started to crumble. Shocker.
Obviously, Carole got older, so there's that problem. Unero numero one for Don. Get over
Not
yourselves.
Get old, apparently. And that's why we have these insecurities with ourselves.
Well, it's all fabricated. Women, do not listen to men. Men suck ass. They get old. Stop going for old men. I know why a lot of women do. It's because of the money. You guys want the money. That's exactly why Carole went for Don Lewis. He was 22 years her senior. Like,
right.
That is ridiculous. Like,
and you got to give her credit, though, because a lot of men do this, right? A lot of men do this. I'm going to kill my wife to get rid of the problem, right? This was a woman turning the tables on a man.
Yeah, because Don was very healthy. It's not like he was unhealthy. Like, he wasn't dying anytime soon.
Exactly.
Anyways, they got some issues in their relationship, according to Carole.
And she was jaded. He's got a new girlfriend. He did exactly to her what he did to his wife and many women before. Yeah. I absolutely see that there was at least 10 affairs going.
Yeah. The first problem that Carole mentions in this docuseries, which is she did not want to breed any animals, and her husband wanted to continue to breed. And she said, no, we can't do that. We're supposed to be like avoiding that, shutting this down. And he's like, hell no.
Oh my God, I just thought of something. She looked at her husband, Don Lewis, as really the Tiger King.
Yeah.
So it's like it was a trigger for her, heavy.
Yeah, because she looks at it, that's how she looks at all of them, because her husband was dead set on breeding. In fact, he wanted to move their big cat rescue all the way down to Costa Rica.
And she wasn't having it.
She was like, hell no. And he was like, well, there's no breeding restrictions down there. So she was like, no, I'm not doing that.
He was causing a big mess for her. And she basically, in my opinion, vision / thoughts and theories, feel like she wanted to take care of the problem.
Yeah. Well, she found out that he not only was building or starting to build a rescue down in Costa Rica, but that he had a girlfriend, or as Liz said earlier, 10.
Right. And her dad didn't like him anyway, because he was they were the same age practically.
Exactly.
And she also had deputy sheriff brother.
Something like that.
So she had all these people in her ear saying, look, we can figure something out. We can get rid of this guy for you so that you keep your money, you keep your everything.
And his money.
Exactly. So that way you're not screwed in the end. And I don't even feel like she skipped a beat. I don't necessarily think that Carole acted alone because I don't feel like she could have physically taken this guy down by herself, but I do feel like she had an army behind her.
Absolutely. She didn't do this by herself. She absolutely had people by her.
What happened with Don Lewis? His van ended up being found later on abandoned near an airport because he was, again, going to Costa Rica. One huge detail people always talk about is that Don reportedly told people before disappearing he was planning to leave the marriage.
He tried to get a protection order,
Right.
and the police denied him because they were like, "You, a man against a woman? Haha, silly."
Right, exactly.
So they dismissed it.
I think he heard through the grapevine. I think he heard her having conversations about their plan for murder.
I really wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Don was he had lots of friends.
Right.
So having all those friends, of course somebody's going to tell him like, "Hey, it sounds like your wife is trying to do something."
Right. And according to reports over years, there were also legal disputes, money concerns, and tension in their relationship before he vanished. He was also declared legally dead years later in 2002, but no body has ever been found. And that's important. No body. No murder charge. No official ruling saying that Carole killed him.
Or didn't.
Just leaves all his money behind.
Leaves all of his money and all of his possessions and his animals. And number 2, Don, although had 4 planes, none of them could make it to Costa Rica.
No.
Their plane's capacity for gas, he would have to stop 4 times, which how are you going to stop 4 times in the middle of the ocean?
And I love how Carole just positioned it like, oh, he cut off his children. He cut them off. And I was like, no, that's not fair. Except I'm pretty sure you were the reason that the relationship between his children went to a bad place.
And also, this is all hearsay again, Carole. Like, nobody believes you, and we are only hearing your side. Where is Don to disclose that he wanted to take his children out of the will and you decided not to do that? Nobody knows if that's true or not.
And then you gave them the smallest percentage, even though that's their biological father's hard-earned money. You felt like you deserved 90% of it?
And how do we know that he did want to change it and he wanted to give his children all of the money and give you nothing?
I really get that vibe from Don. Like, he wanted to fix the relationship issues he had with his kids. He wanted to fix the relationship issues he had with his ex-wife. Not necessarily getting back together, but just being cordial, saying, yeah, I fucked up.
We don't know. Again, where is Don to disclose any of this? You're making him look bad when, I mean, you haven't made yourself look the greatest on this docuseries.
Absolutely. So let's get into my thoughts and visions and theories when it comes to Don Lewis and where he ended up. I love that Joe had diary entries of hers and quite literal evidence of things that really proved that she did, in fact, feed her tigers Don Lewis. But here's what I'm thinking happened. I think that they had been planning this for about 5 months before it took place. And I believe that they had to do everything methodically, including Carole suggesting for him to go do this, that, and the other. And I feel like they had planned it to this specific date, this specific time. Everyone had a part, including the abandoned vehicle type of thing. I feel like her brother drove that out there. I feel like Dad came along. They gave him some medication, including like something connected to the...
Probably a tiger trank.
Yeah, honestly.
Like when they have to move the tigers,
Yep.
They have to tranquilize them to put them to sleep.
I don't disagree with you. And that's going to put a man in a big, big, heavy state, if not kill him.
It will definitely kill him. If they gave him the dose that you would give a tiger.
Right. And I believe that it did, in fact, kill him. And I think that's when they started to slice him up and feed him to the tigers. Joe also pointed out the tigers, their acid in their stomach is so heavy and hard, they can digest bone.
Their bodies are designed to eat animals whole and leave nothing behind.
Well, when you see the tigers being fed, they're given the body with the bones, like the animals that they've been fed.
Yep. They don't just eat the skin and meat off of it. They eat the animal whole.
Right, exactly. Even the cubs are eating full-ass raw chicken. I know it's weird for us, but that's what their stomach can hold. For me, I agree that his body was absolutely ripped to shreds, digested. I even feel like this happened even a day before. I feel like this was methodically planned out to the very last detail.
Yeah, I kind of agree, because here's some things to point out here from the docuseries that I was thinking about. First and foremost, Carole said it about 5 times that Don said I'm leaving real early in the morning. Real early in the morning. Really early. Like, she kept saying that. And I'm like, girl, why are you saying that so many times?
It's to keep her story straight.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Then the other thing that Joe pointed out was about this meat grinder. Carole says it's too small to even run a hand through it. How would she know if you can run a hand through the meat grinder?
Did you give it a shot?
That's what I'm saying. Did you give it a shot? Did they maybe try the meat grinder and it wasn't working? Because she did try to put his hand through it and it wasn't grinding up.
I mean, they're all professionals in preparing food for tigers. So, I mean, it wouldn't be that different from a human. So I definitely get that vibe from Don. And I do want to put out here as well that when I channel Don, he tells me that there were moments in time where Carole had like her own secrets. Like she had like a lockbox. She had hidden documents. Like she was being very, very, very secretive in their relationship as well. So I do want to point this out as well. Carole Baskin's current husband is Howard Baskin. Now, Howard did take Carole's last name after they got married. I have no issue with that. I think more men should do that kind of thing. Submit to their wives, showing that kind of energy. I think all the power to him for that. But what I find interesting is that they reportedly met early 2000s. I just don't think that's accurate. I think that they had seen each other previously, and I feel like he was part of the help when it comes to getting Don Lewis taken care of. According to sources, they had actually met in Tampa at a animal sanctuary. Now, Howard apparently was already interested in conservation and philanthropy, and the two apparently bonded pretty quickly over animal rescue and advocacy, and he later became heavily involved in big cat rescue. Now, I know that there's nothing publicly stating this, but my feel is that there's one hell of a heavy prenup in place. But he knows that in order for him to obtain the finances, he's got to be a good little boy and submit to her, which is exactly what she was looking for. Thus, the reason she's never turned on Howard Baskin.
Most definitely. He was probably feeding her ear with what to do.
Yeah. So, and of course, she's got a cop family. Who knows how to hide evidence better than a cop family?
Exactly. Nobody. They know exactly how to destroy, disappear. Oop, evidence gone.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, it's Carole Baskin. Just took a kitty cat ride around my kitty cat, meow meow kitty cat lake. And I just want to thank everybody for being a supporter of the Big Cat Kitty Cat Rescue.
Now let's move on to the Tiger King side of things here. Now, the second the Tiger King dropped, the internet basically convicted Carole in like 5 business days.
Oh no.
People were joking nonstop about tigers and sardine oil and septic tanks and all that stuff. But underneath the jokes, there's actually a genuinely disturbing missing person case here, obviously. Now, Joe Exotic is now sitting behind bars and has been sitting behind bars for quite a few years. And I don't discredit that what he did to those animals were horrendous. The beating of them, the abusing them, the killing them for no reason.
Not feeding them appropriately, like the appropriate amounts. I'm sorry, but if you cannot afford to feed all these tigers, then you need to send them to a sanctuary or somewhere else. Not killing them. Send them somewhere else, because it's not their fault that you can't feed them.
I'm pretty sure that even if you hated PETA as much as you did, if you called them up and said, hey, I've got like 8 to 10 tigers here that I need to get rid of because I cannot afford to feed them, they're going to come running and save them.
But you don't go into their cage that you're keeping them in and you shoot them because you can't afford to feed them. That is absolutely ridiculous.
And he deserves to be behind bars for that specific act 10 times over.
Exactly. And then the 2 chimpanzees that he got rid of, although he did send them to a sanctuary before he went to prison.
But he realized as a person sitting in a cage all day that that's not okay.
Right. He was like, oh, did I, when he sent them off, they hugged each other for the first time in 10 years. And he's like, did I do that to them? Did I keep them from hugging each other? You absolutely did. You kept them isolated for 10 years away from each other. So you do deserve to be in prison for some time for what you did.
Now, when it comes to him and his obsession with Carole, let's get into that a little bit. So first and foremost, like Landon said earlier, we both agree that we feel like he's a lot of talk. He was looking for attention. He was looking for views. He was looking for audience. And what is he going to do to get audience? Have big dramatic details. It's very similar to presidents in the past doing crazy things to get attention. So he had his show. What? He had that 7 days a week going?
Yeah, 7 days a week at 6 o'clock.
That's insane.
Every single day, airing the show after you're working with the Tigers and stuff all day. Like,
he was mad at Carole so much that he basically made his show about her.
All about Carole, especially when things started escalating when Carole was trying to get him shut down.
Carole absolutely has, this is allegedly on my side, has also dabbled in those things as well. And I know she's trying to make it seem like she's there for the animals. And although I do believe she is more about the animals than Mr. Joe Exotic himself, but I still believe she also dabbled in some illegal activities with the animals.
Most of them start out wanting to do good. Even Joe. We saw footage in the first part of Tiger King where Joe was like, these animals don't belong in Oklahoma. They do not belong in the United States. They belong in Asia, India, and Africa, and we shouldn't be breeding them. And then Joe, once he got money. Yep, Joe got caught up in the money. He started breeding, realizing you make more money breeding. Carole, same way with her husband Don, realized you make way more money by breeding than by just saving big cats. And how are we going to feed them if we don't breed them?
I feel like Carole could have done more financially for her animals.
Oh, she absolutely can. I mean, she got all that money from her ex-husband.
Right.
And then she still makes money off of all of these donations that she gets.
Even as far as going Dancing with the Stars, she got money for that too.
Exactly. She has, and she could have a way better sanctuary for her animals and stuff.
I don't even think it's open anymore. I think they ended up going to Arkansas. That sanctuary is no longer open, which I agree with. I think that was the best choice for them.
Joe keeps talking about how he thinks he's going to get out of prison.
The prison getting out part. We're going to get to that piece because that I think is going to tie in the very end. I agree with Landon so hard on this that Joe, I don't think that he was planning to kill Carole. I feel like he was more focused on her in those first few years before his husband accidentally shot himself. Although I also get the vibe that Travis did it on purpose.
I definitely believe that Travis, he wanted to go out with a big bang. And he also was depressed and sad. He was locked at the zoo. Joe kept everybody close to him. That is why everybody had to have a camper or something and put it on his property. They found a place for it because he was so paranoid that people were going to go out there and, I don't know, say something about what he was doing, the abuse to the animals, like hitting them, not feeding them, something. Like he was so afraid that people were going to steal his people or they were just going to leave and never come back. He kept them there. And that was exactly what he did to Travis. He just kept him there.
Yeah, I like a caged animal.
Right, like even though he was able to go, he wasn't in a cage. He basically was. You were caged to the property.
Right, and he wasn't allowed to go anywhere. Like
right, he wasn't allowed to go taking his quad anywhere off the property. He wasn't allowed to go to the store. He wasn't allowed to do anything.
Right. Humans are not designed to be in cages, and neither are animals, which is why we put people in prison, to fuck with them, to take away their freedom. In reality, that makes people go fucking nutty, especially when they were already unstable as it was. You never know what's going to happen. And I genuinely believe that Joe has a lot of guilt about that even now. When he sits with his thoughts, he has guilt like, oh fuck, am I the reason that Travis did this? Because Joe knows deep down inside that Travis intentionally did this because he threatened it all the fucking time. My last cigarette, he always told Joe he was going, he was leaving, but he wanted to leave this world because he constantly kept cheating on Joe as well. Now, here's the piece that I don't think anyone even really knows or understands, but could probably feel like this seems accurate. But I believe that Travis was molested as a young boy. And I feel like his mom and his other parent, probably some sort of stepfather figure, were very heavy into drugs as well. And I feel like that all kind of came back to him. And honestly, Joe was kind of a trigger for him.
Yeah, an older man hitting on a younger boy and then like grooming him to be with him and then being like, all of a sudden, we got to be married.
And then Travis was constantly trying to prove to himself and others that he wasn't gay, which is why he kept having sex with random people all over the place. I even feel like he had sex with Jeff Lowe's wife.
I mean, honestly, Travis's mother did say that Travis never even dated a guy, never even was with a guy. Same thing with his first husband there.
Yeah.
Also said, say, I dated women all through middle school and high school, and I never told Joe that I was gay. But you certainly was comfortable with Joe buying you trucks and guns and
that
all that.
And Joe, like, because Joe is so insecure with himself, like, here he is pulling in these straight boys. He knows they're straight, you know, and being like, I can turn anyone gay. Like, that's not normal. But he did that.
Right. And not every gay person's like that. It's more likely that straight people and specifically straight men think that they can turn lesbians into straight women.
God, that theory.
That's a bigger population. But yeah, Joe is one. His third time around, he actually found a gay guy.
I think he took, even if you notice, Dylan is actually also driving around and has his own life. So it looks like Joe may have taken the, hey, maybe I shouldn't control them so heavily energy and put it in the backseat.
But he doesn't have a choice because he's in prison.
Good point.
Joe can't control him and make him stay there. He has to go drive around because he's got to take care of things now that Joe's sitting in prison. We don't know how he would treat Dylan. I feel like he's trying. Definitely. He's like trying to do a better job. Good for you. Finally found somebody who was at least interested in penis.
The other piece of it too is I agree with the documentary saying that something changed in Joe when Travis killed himself. And a lot of people kept saying, especially Jeff Lowe and a few of them, that he was putting on an act. I mean, maybe he was using it as a manipulation tool to get people to come and see him, you know, at his place. But I feel like he was sad.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that he definitely probably was milking it a little bit. Like, putting on the dramatics, because again, we know Joe is a showboat. All this glitz and glamour and this persona, he's got to, because he doesn't get any attention. I also agree that I think that he definitely was sad. I think anybody would be sad if somebody had a gun and whether Travis did it on purpose or was playing around, the gun went off, killed him, and people saw that. It was on camera, like people heard it. It was in front of employees, like it was in the gift shop.
He became this like shell of who he was at that point. And I think that all of the passion, the feels, everything just kind of fell out of him there, and he became more and more angry.
Well, his first one left him for a woman and got the girl pregnant, so he was already dealing with that. Then he only had Travis. The stuff with Carole and Jeff Lowe started.
Right.
And all of that stuff was starting up again with the feud. And then Travis happens. I think it was like all these things at once, and it like overwhelmed him. It just put him in this chaotic spiral.
And then Joe can't be alone.
No.
So he went into, I need to find me a new mansies. I mean, he had two at once. So it shouldn't surprise anyone that he went after somebody so quickly.
2 months, Travis's mother was like, it was only 2 months after my son's death. And it's like, well, your son also although he did not deserve to die, should have like just left, just figured something out, maybe came home to you, but he also was using Joe for drugs and money and to buy him things as well, knowing damn well he was straight.
Now we're going to talk about Jeff Lowe here as well, because I think this is an important time to mention this. When it comes to him, he saw and never respected Joe.
Never.
He was like, fuck this guy, but I'm going to take advantage of him.
Yeah, he looked at him like he was a joke. He was like, I can outsmart this dumb redneck.
Right. I'm going to come here. I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to take his tigers. I'm going to take everything. I'm going to make money. I'm going to sell them. I'm going to do what I can. He was honestly coming in not to help Joe.
He just wanted to take his zoo because he needed a place that he could be his own. But
right.
Be careful what you wish for, Jeff.
He was doing a lot of illegal activities, as we all know, behind the scenes anyway. But that is why he came in. Even the other guy.
Tim,
thank you. He does these business ventures with people so that he can take over their business and fuck them royally.
And he says that he has money. He shows all the money that he had in the past or that he has stolen from other people.
Right.
And he's like, look at my fancy house. Look at my fancy cars. Look at all this stuff. But if you don't do your research and realize he's behind on his car payments, he's behind on his house payments. Yeah. He actually has terrible credit and he has stolen money from everybody. People would probably stop going into business with him.
And he has stupid ideas like a mobile animal bus down the strip where they're not moving very much.
Animals do not like vehicles. No. Putting them in a moving vehicle and being like, hey, pet this tiger for $2,000 while I drive you down the strip. Like, get fucked.
Literally.
So I could get mauled? No thanks.
Every time Jeff Lowe gets into business with anyone, he screws them over.
Hard.
This time, Tiger King, Joe Exotic, screwed him over. And he wasn't expecting it. So he got enraged. There were legal consequences. There were more issues he had to deal with. He was already getting in trouble from the cops as well. Like, there was a lot already going on. But he needed a place to take out his frustration. I believe, and so does Landon, we both do, that this man got in touch with Carole and Carol's wife. Oh, sorry, Carol's husband, I mean. He literally puts her on a pedestal and she can do whatever the hell she wants to him, including kinky stuff, but we're not going to get into that. Hey, Carole, let's bring him down together. So all of the people that really got fucked over by Joe kind of came together and set all of this up.
Yeah, I just genuinely see Jeff emailing Carole like, hey, I got a plan to get rid of that Joe problem. Do you want in? And then Carole being like, sitting there thinking about it and then being like, yeah. And I see her man over there was like, no, we shouldn't get involved. And she was like, shut up. And
you sit down and fucking do nothing like you usually do.
If I can take Joe down, I'm going to, especially legally. So she was on board. She was like, hell yeah. And she didn't have to do any of the dirty work. I could see it was very calculated. She was like, what do I have to do? Because I'm not doing anything illegal. And Jeff Lowe was like, no, you don't have to do anything illegal, but you definitely need to act scared. And like your life was in danger, like grave danger.
Really build that storyline up because they had a lot of evidence of him saying, we're going to, put her head in a jar. We're going to blow her up.
Took some M80s and strapped it to a tree and blew it up saying it was Carole. And, oh, Carole, you want my watch? Blew that up. You want my bed? Blew that up. What everybody doesn't see is Joe does all this for show. He was doing these videos for years about Carole, how he was going to kill her.
And at that point, I don't even think his focus was on Carole.
At the time that this was going down, that when Jeff started this, no, because again, this was all around the time of Travis's death and him meeting his new husband, Dylan. So he wasn't even focused on Carole at all. He didn't even care about Carole at this point because the devastating death of Travis, his gators and all of that getting murdered and slaughtered, his first husband leaving him, Jeff driving him nuts about this campaign. Carole wasn't even on the docket of Joe's issues and problems or focus at this time.
Exactly. And Jeff Lowe knew that that was one of his bigger pieces of kryptonite, his hatred for Carole, like where his problem started. It was like a root cause. So he knew, like, I'm going to go fuck him hard. And those two, Carole and Carole's husband, were both really heavily involved.
Fish and wildlife.
Thank you. And that's where they had their hands. So they're like, well, you guys need to make damn sure that you're doing things through the feds, do this, do that. And they all were like, let's do this. They never in a day in their lives would ever work with any sort of cop, police, anything, but they had to do this to bring him down.
Yeah, it was all their common goal was their vindication against Joe, and they all wanted to go against him.
Joe don't even want to spend a goddamn dollar, let alone $1 to kill Carole Baskin.
Right. What I was going to say was, although it wasn't right for Joe to be threatening Carole
at all
in any capacity, and I'm not saying that it's right, but like I said, he's been doing it for years. If Joe genuinely did want to kill Carole, he would have already did it. He had multiple ways that he could have did it, and he chose not to because he, again, is just the star of the show. He just does it and says things for attention. He knew he could. He had so many guns and bombs and dangerous animals, venomous animals. If he really wanted to do something to her, he would have.
He also would go in hiding when he thought someone was going to come and beat him up. Like, he was scared of people. He didn't even, like, yeah, he had his guns, but he don't know how to use it. You can even see the way he was using his gun.
The way he holds his guns, right. The way he holds his gun and shoots his gun, he acts like that's not the way to hold a gun.
He uses it for control, not for actual murder.
Right. Even when the tiger got a hold of his leg, he was panicking and he took his cane and started hitting the tiger, and the tiger didn't let go. And then he took his gun out and then he was shooting all over the place. He could have killed somebody or a tiger.
Exactly.
In those moments.
He's very careless, for sure. But my whole point is that this man, in that moment in his life, plotting a murder for hire for
I don't
Carole.
think that Joe Exotic ever planned or plotted to kill Carole. I think that he genuinely was just very mad at her. He was jealous of her that she had gotten a husband that was a millionaire that disappeared and she got all this money, and then her new husband does whatever she says.
He wanted to ruin her reputation more than anything else.
That's all he wanted to do. Did he want her dead? No, because then who else is he going to blame, and who else is he going to say his life is miserable because of? But Jeff Lowe brought it up, I feel like, when they started this plotting with Carole and that. I feel like Joe now became very paranoid, and everybody kept saying, you're being too paranoid. You're being too paranoid. You need to calm down. I think that Joe was becoming paranoid because they kept bringing up conversations in front of him. Like, Joe would come in and be like, did anyone feed the tigers this morning? Did you do your thing? And then they'd be like, so that Carole Baskin, that bitch, don't you want to murder her? And
yes, they definitely set him up.
They literally just kept coaxing him into conversations about her. And I feel like that's why Joe became paranoid, because he was like, why the hell do you guys keep bringing up Carole every 5 minutes?
Right. And they were also like, he's somebody who enjoys recording the shit out of himself, not for any other reason, but because he likes to be the star of the show.
And he likes the sound of his own voice. I mean, hello, he is like he thinks he's a country singer, and he thinks that's his real voice on his music, and it's not.
It's so
auto-tuned to the highest degree.
You can tell like that is not him at all, like at all.
Even when he sings to his songs, you can hear his real voice. That's not you, bruh.
And that Carole Baskin lookalike in his music video, like, where did he find her? Because she quite literally is her replica.
He must have paid somebody a lot of money.
And that's what he would pay money to. Not for some fucking murder for hire.
Right, making his music videos and paying people to be stand-in lookalikes. Like, that's where he was spending. And on his guns and his men, like, as we know, Travis and his other one and all them, they get all these fancy cars.
And then there's Alan. Alan fucking hated Joe.
Alan wanted to kill Joe himself and even asked Jeff, hey, can I drop a chainsaw on Joe today? Like, and just say it was an accident. Like, if anybody was actually plotting to kill anybody, it would have been Alan plotting to kill.
And you can tell as he's talking on the camera, that dude is lying. Like, he's smiling from ear to ear. Oh, I just didn't want to do it. No, it was a setup. You guys all set him up.
Everything was a setup. I absolutely agree. I'm just wondering why where I am at is like, why is nobody else getting in trouble for all this? Like, I understand that they had to
take him out and
take him out
and take him to prison for the tigers. I don't disagree with that at all. But every single one of them should have been in trouble because they all were part of it. Even a few of his staff members, I believe, also killed some of those tigers.
Don't tell me for one second that like these people did not help Joe either kill the tigers or bury the tigers, remove them. Like, Joe could not remove these tigers by themselves, especially full grown. They're like 800 pounds.
When Joe got pulled by that tiger because somebody put something on his shoes.
And you can tell, like, everybody's sitting there saying, we don't know, nothing happened. No, Joe, there is so much fucking footage of Joe around these tigers. They are never doing that to him. Never. They are never pawing at his legs. They are never like attacking his feet or sniffing his feet or anything to do with his feet. He goes in those cages all the fucking time.
Exactly. They decided to pull him in, and he had a genuine reaction of how I see he would do it, regardless of the camera being on or not. With Don, there was also a scene where he was getting attacked by a tiger, tells his wife to get out of the cage, and you can tell if the cameras weren't on him, he would have reacted in a way hella bad way.
Oh yeah, would have shot him dead.
Yep, I don't disagree.
Because you have to look at it this way. In the human mind, it is survival of the fittest. If a wild animal is coming at you, their natural instinct is to kill you. Your natural instinct is to kill them because it's killed or be killed.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, this is exactly why we as humans should stop fucking around with endangered wild animals, because
Literally.
They can snap. It doesn't matter. You can raise that cub and give it all the love in the world from the day it's born.
It's still a predator.
It's still a predator. It can still turn on you. Even domesticated animals, cats, dogs, there could just be something that changes in their brain that makes them turn and snap and do something drastic. That have 3-inch teeth coming at you, no thank you.
And you can't blame the animal because that's their natural behavior.
Exactly.
They are predators.
It's their instinct is, I'm hungry, especially Joe's tigers, who we know were being severely underfed. They're like, listen, that's when they turn on you. You see those like circus performing tigers or even Joe's tigers, if they are being mistreated, underfed, they're going to turn on their handlers. Or if they're being used for work over and over and over again, that's why circus tigers turn.
Like Siegfried and Roy. Do you guys remember Roy Horn? He was attacked by one of those white tigers, their specific white tigers, during a live show in Las Vegas in 2003. The tiger's name was Monocore, and Monocore grabbed Roy by the neck and dragged him off stage. Roy did technically survive the attack, but suffered severe injuries, including damage that led to partial paralysis and ended the duo's performance career. He was technically not killed by the tiger, but Siegfried later said that they believe that the tiger was trying to protect Roy after he appeared to have a medical issue on stage. Though there has always been debate about exactly what happened, Roy ended up passing away years later in 2020 from complications related to COVID, not from the tiger attack. But if I'm going to be completely honest, I genuinely feel that if that tiger attack did not happen, the complications connected to COVID would never have killed him. And I know they don't want to blame the tiger, and I don't blame the tiger either. But in reality, that's what happened. I understand that they feel like the tiger was trying to protect him, and I can see why they feel that way. But no, this tiger lost his shit, was done with performing, and thus the reason this happened. I will say that I think there's been some legal things that have happened. I know the season 2 of the Tiger King, there was some things, and we'll talk about it when we do that episode eventually. But I do feel as though Joe, right now, maybe not so much, but I feel like he is going to get out of prison. I see that something is going to happen where they do his case over or redo his sentencing, I see him getting that, specifically the murder for hire charge, dropped.
Well, I think he does get like an appeal, and he probably is coming up on an appeal. We know that he got 22 years, which, in my opinion, sorry, bud, I think you deserve it. Not for the murder for hire, because I will absolutely agree to that. I think that was bullshit. I know that he said it a lot of times, but I don't think he was going to do it. For keeping those chimpanzees in a cage for 10 years, keeping the tigers in a cage, breeding, killing, all of those things he was doing. Yeah, 22 years. Live it. Suck it up, bud.
But I do feel like he's going to get out. And I also feel like something's going to happen to the rest of them people. But there's a lot of things that he has documents. We saw that Dylan saved
the whole storage unit full of them.
Exactly. But I also feel like they're not even looking at them. The reason they're not looking at them is because they got a guy. They didn't want to get a whole entire colony of people. They just wanted to get one person to pinpoint on this situation.
As we saw, now Joe has turned to PETA.
Yep.
And now he is trying to take down all the rest of them, because he's like, if I'm going down for this, all the rest of you are going down. And Joe, although was a dirty handler in all of this too, he was doing the same thing these people are. I also don't blame him for wanting to seek revenge on these other people, because they had more money than him and they're still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Doc Antle, he has his own crematory on his property. Don't tell me.
It's shady AF too.
Right. And a lot of his workers, the same, are like, we would have tiger cubs up to like a year old and then they disappear, and oh, where'd they go? And Doc would tell them, don't worry about it. Well, Joe's telling everybody where they go. Gas chambers and all this other stuff. And his sanctuary got raided, and now we haven't heard anything from Doc Antle, because you also were doing shady things. All of you guys in this industry are doing shady things, including Carole. She is no better. Maybe she's not breeding right now, but she's still not doing things to try to get them to go back out in the wild, or
not using her money for good. Try to kind of incorporate them back into the wild now, even if it's like in stages and steps. All that stuff. Like, I agree. If you just love them as much as you say you do, which that to me just shows me that it's more about the money love than it is about the animal love.
Right. And she also wants to be the star of her own show too.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why she video records all her people comes in, hey, all you cool cats and kittens. She's got her own show too. It's not as popular as Joe, but she also has her own little blog that she does.
She gets money for being hated so heavily as well. You know, there's a lot of elements involved in all of this.
I just really hope that some of them go down, like Jeff Lowe.
Well, I wanted to mention that piece of it. So first and foremost, we're going to have a lot of exotic animal rights changed significantly throughout the entire U.S., including monkeys and chimpanzees and all that stuff, which I don't necessarily think is a bad idea. There are going to be small, like monkeys, small little ones that they'll let be in certain states, but I feel like a lot of these animals are going to be pushed back to the wild.
Capuchins, spider monkeys, there's a few that are very small. They probably might still be able to be in the US and in households in some places, but I agree, we should not be having chimpanzees. We should not be having orangutans, gorillas, like those animals, tigers, like no big cats. I think the biggest cat that we should be able to have in the US is a savanna cat. And those cats can get up to like 20 to 30, 40 pounds. That's big enough. That's like a dog. We don't need anything bigger.
No, I don't disagree. Lynx, all of them, they needs to be.
Right. They need to go back in the wild where they belong. We need to come up with better sources and ways to slowly.
Right. And then there's another element as well that there's people that are breeding them for their pure pleasure, but then there's also people breeding animals to test on them, to take their fur and make them into fashion. And that's another thing that's going to get heavily pushed.
It definitely should.
I feel like we're going to find out some connections to the Kardashians connected to real genuine fur. They're literally skinning them. Like they're taking their skin, killing them, like mutilating them, murdering them, and making them into coats too. It's fucked up. Anyways, all of these things are going to get to a better place, I believe, not under this administration, but I do see some people proactively fixing and correcting and also exploiting people and sharing all the crazy shit that is genuinely going down. Even that chimpanzee lady. There's also something happening with her too.
I think something does, I think that we need to start going in this direction as a country, start voting for people who want to put predators, no matter if they're billionaires, animal abusers, or whatever, these people need to start being exposed, and we need their names, their addresses, their bank accounts, their social security numbers, their stuff, so we can stay the fuck away from them. And they should be exiled from society instead of blaming victims all the time. Like, who is winning in this situation with these animals? These animals aren't winning.
Nope. Unfortunately not. None of these animals. And that's where these people, this is where it all started. These animals. Now let's care about these animals in the way they need to be cared for. But anyways, guys, that is it for today's episode. Next week, we will be dropping an Epstein episode. We've waited a long time again to do this, but there's a lot more to say, and we got to keep talking about this. Otherwise, it's just going to go away, and that's not what we need. It is always
us against everything.